Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Bad to the Stone channel. Today Pebbles is getting a little upgrade here on the top. Pretty quick video today. I'm not going to show making this whole part, just going to show you the output, and I'll put some dimensions in there. Make sure you have some information if you wanted to make one of your own. I love to run with the hardtop off, the doors off, but I do like to put the two front detachable panels back on, and I run like that all the time. They don't connect at the back because normally they hook onto the hardtop. It does work fine that way, but I saw somebody else had made a bar like this so that you can still clamp down the last clamp on those front pieces. So I thought I would give it a try and just give it, like I say, a little bit of extra support. I may actually also try to modify my Bimini top that normally hooked on at the front, and I may try to just hook it onto this bar and run the back half of that Bimini top. Just really like the pieces up at the front, keeps the sun off your head when you're driving. Get the doors off, you still get that open air feeling without the rest of the top on. And if you do get caught out in the rain or anything like that, it keeps more of the water off of your electronics. Up at the front, it just kind of makes water only going to hit around the back of your vehicle. So anyway, for all those reasons, I thought it would be cool to make one of these. So I'll get some better video of it here, but just a 1-inch piece of tubing going across. I did rivet on a couple of 1/8 pieces on the bottom. Mine was a little bit different, so it's only an extra 1/8 piece here on the driver's side. I ended up adding a 1/4 of an inch here on the passenger side. I'm going to get this powder coated black, but I thought it'd be easier to show kind of what it looks like in the video here before I get it powder coated, and then just modified some angle iron here on the end. So anyway, let me turn the camera around. We'll get some better video of this. I'll put the top pieces back on, show you what that looks like. Just a nice little additional support here for when you're running with your two front panels in place. All right, let's turn this camera around, get you a better look at it, and I'll make sure you get a chance to see what it looks like after it's powder coated. Stick around. All right, so essentially what I've got here is a piece of 1-inch square aluminum tubing, 49.5 inches long. I modified some angle iron here to make these brackets on the end. So I ended up with some angle iron that is about, let's see, right around 2 1/4 inches on the long edge, and it's about 1 5/8 on the top edge is what got me with a nice smooth top. And I'm just using existing holes here where I bolted it. So this is the hole where you have to take this bolt out when you're taking the hard top on and off. So just repurpose that bolt. I used the Rockworks quick release, but I had to put a bolt back in here now because I just didn't have enough room to get that Rockworks one back in there. So I used one of the original bolts. And then there's another hole over here. I just used a 1/4 inch bolt. There's not a threaded hole, it's just another free one. This is the hole where your top piece lines up, so you can't cover up that one, but use this one. These bolts barely have any clearance, so I didn't want to run a bracket further up and bolt onto these ones. I didn't want to take these out. This is for alignment and everything else. So again, using the existing holes. This one's threaded. This one, just put a bolt through there. You can see where that bolts up onto the bottom side. So using existing holes, not having to drill any holes in there. Took my 1-inch tubing and I just riveted it onto my angle iron. So didn't want to use any bolts, minimize the size of the head that's on there. Got that riveted in place and just lined up these holes. And then same thing down there on the other end. So you end up with just this nice straight bar going across. I'll give you a look at what these pieces look like underneath, and then we'll get the top on. All right, so underneath here, same thing. Just use some rivets. Put that 1/8 piece. I kind of countersunk the rivets so they're nice and flat so that there's no additional height for that clamp to have to slide over when that goes into place. And again, this one over here, 1/8 of an inch is what I added here. I did add a 1/4 of an inch just to give it sort of even tension as I'm hitting those clamps. So let me go ahead and get those top panels back in place. All right, I've just got the one side back in place right now. And you can see you've got clearance. I mean, we're hitting there, kind of bows up that 1-inch piece a little bit. It kind of fits right in behind that little rubber piece where it would connect up with the top. That 1-inch strip just drops right in there and gives you a place to hook that clamp back on there again. Just running over top of that 1/8 piece. Let's go ahead and get the other side on. And there it is. Now we've got both of them back in there. So really adds some solidness back there. Again, these run fine without it on there, but I just thought it sure is nice to be able to clamp that all the way around. Just gives it a nice finished look in there. You can see, again, we just got a bolt using existing holes. Drop that piece right in there. And here's what that looks like across the back. So again, really just drops in there nicely, right behind those rubber grommets. That bar is locked in place. Bolted on there solid. get that powder coated black so it matches everything else, and it's gonna pretty much just disappear in there. All right, I'll show you what it looks like when she's black, and then we'll call this one a wrap. See you back in a week or two when I get it back from the powder coater. All right, just for comparison, there's what it looks like without. Just got wide open space back there. Not using those back two clamps. And it's not totally loose, but definitely have some flex and bounce. So with that piece in there, it just solidifies that right up. Make sure you're really clamping that in. So again, runs fine without it. I think it's a better solution with it. Pretty easy part to make. We got the part back from the powder coat. It is in. Really happy with how that looks. We'll get a better shot of it on the vehicle, but you can see how it looks there with the riveted parts. I mean, it just, yeah, pretty much makes everything all disappear in there in that nice matte black. Right now, I've got these little end caps, these plastic pieces. We're gonna pound those into the end just to finish off that hollow in the end of the tube right there. And theoretically, I left enough room to that first rivet, so that should fit in there just fine. Yes, all right, left enough room that we can drop those in there. So let me get those pounded in. We'll get out to the vehicle and get this thing bolted back in place. Well, just a couple whacks with the rubber mallet, drop those in there, no problem. I guess if I was making this again, I could have even finished this square tube off and left a little bit of room so that once I pounded that in, it actually went flush. But once it's on the vehicle and underneath, it's gonna just disappear in there too. But yeah, if I was making it again, I'd probably leave my tubing another 1/8 of an inch or 3/16, whatever that is, leave it a little shorter and just have that be flush on the end. All right, let's go get it put on place. There, we got that one bolted in place. God, powder coat looks good. Just blends right in. We got 2 bolts on each side, securely holding that down. And I'm gonna go experiment, but I think I'm gonna be able to get that back Bimini top canvas piece. It might just go right around this tube. Let's go ahead and grab that and see what we can do with it. All right, that Bimini top fits right around that piece of square tubing that I'm using. So it fits right around that piece of tube. If I just cut around here where the Velcro is, pop a little hole for that little rubber nub to set through, then it appears I should be able to drop that top right on top of here. Make enough room, it's not gonna clamp over this extra thickness here. Actually, if I hadn't put those plates on, I might have been able to just go over top of this, but I want to have options to run it with or without. So if I do that, and then all this excess here, if I just cut this whole front section off of my Bimini top, since I'm not going to use that, since I like to run with the front panels on, I'm going to cut a little bit of excess in case I want to fold it over and stitch it, put a little seam on there. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut up this Bimini and be able to drop this on and cover up the back. Fits around that tube just perfect instead of the little aluminum flat piece that was going through there. I've got enough room to Velcro it around my tube. All right, let me get this thing installed. I'll put the top panels on without first, get a couple shots of that, and then we will cut up this Bimini top and get it on here as well. There's what it's looking like half installed. Got that first piece clamped on there, and it just really disappears right in there. That matte black, don't even hardly notice that it's not part of the vehicle. Yeah, that plastic end cap in there, didn't change the fit, just covers up the end of that tube, makes it weatherproof. All right, let's get the other panel on there. There it is, clamped up from the inside. Again, just disappears in there with that matte black. There's a full shot across the back, both pieces locked in place. Tell you, I was out driving the other day down the freeway at 75 with a really heavy crosswind. And those panels, they really don't move that much, but I feel a lot better knowing that those are truly clamped in there all the way around, driving out in the heavy winds at full speed. So not a required piece, but I definitely think it's worth it. Doesn't take away from the looks. And I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't modify that Bimini top and get that on there with it too. That way my back seats will have shade if I've got people sitting back there, or my dog's got shade for when I got it leveled out. Well, I hope it works. I just cut my Bimini top in half. So I cut around the squares, I cut some little holes for those rubber pieces to pop through, cut the whole front off. I'm gonna go do a little bit of hand stitching just to stitch up the end of this Velcro pieces. Make sure that those aren't gonna come undone. Stitch a little bit around those buttonhole sort of things to make sure they don't come undone, and then put a little fold over hem and stitch there on the front just to reinforce that, make sure that wind, time doesn't make that canvas start to unravel. So I'll go do a little bit of hand stitching and then we'll come and try this thing on. All right, I wouldn't claim to be a very quick hand stitcher, but it took me, I don't know, about 4 hours sitting watching some TV last night to get this done. So stitched all around those holes to make sure those aren't gonna rip out. Stitched all along the ends of these pieces where I cut them off. So stitched up around both ends of that, keep that Velcro down, keep that from moving. And then we stitched a hem all across the front of this where I cut that off. So we've got a nice finished looking hem across the front. Got those holes cleaned up and we've got that done. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing put on, see how it all comes together. There it is, modified and installed. All right, that Velcro is tight around that 1-inch square tube, but I think it's enough that it's gonna hold. Guess we'll find out. I'll give it a couple drives. We'll see how it does under the wind. Worst case, maybe I need to throw a couple of zip strips around it in a couple of places. Just punch like one little hole, drop a zip strip through there, just to make sure that that's staying secured around the tube. But I think it's gonna work no matter what. There's a little better shot from the top. So we've got that just back half Bimini locked on there. Across the back, it clamps on just exactly the same as it did before. Get you a quick shot of that. So there's how it comes in across the back. All right, let's go verify that our front pieces still fit on with that thing. There it is, front hard panels installed, back half soft Bimini top. And you've got full shade in your Bronco. Got that crossbar in there holding everything nice and secure. Loving it. There's a shot of it from the other side. I guess it is coming across the top of there now a little higher, so you get a little bit of space on the side. That's how she looks. All right, just gave it a little test drive. The Velcro, everything seemed to hold up fine. Because this is up high enough, really not getting any wind flap, didn't add any extra wind noise. So yeah, I think it's a viable solution. I didn't get on the freeway, but I was hitting 60 miles an hour, had a bit of a crosswind. Adds that extra shade for the back seat, adds that extra shade in there for the dog. So I think that is a good solution. Gonna leave it on there for a while, see how it holds up. Well, YouTube, that's a wrap on another video here for Bad to the Stone. We got this crossbar here built, put onto pebbles. You can either run with just your front top panels installed, give them that extra clamping power. In my case, I was able to further use that bar to modify my Bimini soft top here and get that mounted. Got full shade across the top. I like the hard panels on the front, less wind noise coming over the windshield, and I just think it gives it a cool look. So hope you enjoyed it. Hey, if you're new to the channel, good time for you to go check out some of the other videos we've got, some of the other mods on pebbles. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you know when our next video comes out. Till next time, hope you're out in your own Bronco, keeping it bad to the stone. We'll be here doing some more mods on pebbles. Hey, y'all, take care.